You know what's funny? Pinoy comedy used to be really funny. But if you watch some recent ones, you start to wonder, was this a punchline or just another guy falling down the stairs again? I'm Carl, and today we're gonna ride through time to figure out what really happened. How did we go from the golden slapstick days of Dolphy and Chiquito to TikTok-style humor on the big screen? Why do some jokes still land, and why do others feel like they haven't aged well? Like, at all. This is not just a nostalgia trip, it's also an autopsy in a way. We're gonna talk about what made Pinoy comedy work when it peaked and why today's movies sometimes feel like they're trying a little bit too hard to make us laugh. So welcome to the evolution of Pinoy comedy movies and why they're not as funny anymore. Before Vice Ganda, before Tito Vic and Joey, and way before YouTube skits, Pinoy comedy was already doing its thing in black and white and in very dramatic Tagalog. Back in the 1930s to 1950s, comedy in the Philippines was shaped by a mix of vaudeville-style theater called vaudeville and classic slapstick. This was the era of Pugo and Togo, probably the OG comedy duo in Philippine history. They were known for their fast-paced banter and the physical comedy. Think Filipino Laurel and Hardy, but with more jokes about the colonizers. Fast forward to the post-war period and Dolphy starts to enter the picture. The man, the myth, the comedy king. He got his break through radio and then movies thanks to Bodily Connection, and then he brought with him a style that was humble, relatable, and gender-bending even back then. Dolphy played gay characters way before it was mainstream, and he did it with surprising empathy. And yes, a lot of stereotypical flair too, but come on, it was the 50s after all. These early comedies were escapism. People had just gone through war and Japanese occupation. So yeah, a guy tripping over a banana peel or pretending to be someone's strict yaya was prime entertainment back then. Shows that it doesn't take a lot to make Filipinos happy. But make no mistake, these early comedies were also political in their own way. Pugo and Tugo were once arrested during the Japanese era for mocking soldiers on stage. So shout out to the original rebels in the Philippines. Studios like Sampaguita Pictures, LVN, and Premiere Productions were producing rom-coms and comedy vehicles that blended humor with musical numbers, drama, and a whole lot of shouting. It was not clean-cut comedy. It was messy, noisy, and very, very Filipino back then. So picture this. It's martial law, curfews are in place, the media is tightly controlled. But you know what's not getting censored? Comedy, especially the kind where someone gets hit with a frying pan, chased by angry wives, or ends up cross-dressing for reasons no one fully understands. This was the golden age of slapstick and sitcom-style humor. You had the rise of Tito Vic and Joey with their iconic show Skulbukol, a classroom full of delinquents where no one learned anything but everyone was having fun. Think low-stakes rebellion mixed with fart jokes and a little bit of satire if you squint your eyes hard enough. Meanwhile, Chiquito, the man's face was a punchline on its own. It was doing movies where the plots made absolutely no sense, but people watched anyway because he could deliver one-liners using his eyebrows. He even ran for mayor later. That's the kind of power slapstick had back then. And of course, we can't forget about Dolphy, who was now a full-blown institution. He starred in Pacifica Falayfay, Ang Tatay Kong Nanay, and more, exploring queerness and gender identity in ways that were both funny, campy, and surprisingly human. Sure, it was coated in stereotypes, but there was always a beating heart underneath. Dolphy somehow made it okay for your dad to laugh at a drag queen without punching the screen. Progress? Now here's the thing, comedy in this era was a release valve. People couldn't talk about the Marcos regime, but they could watch a movie where a corrupt mayor gets dunked in a septic tank, you know, for laughs. And behind the clown makeup, some of these films were sneaking in real social commentary. It was satire dressed up as stupidity, which honestly is the most Filipino thing ever. What happens when censorship loosens, commercialism tightens, and everyone suddenly has cable TV? You get chaos. Glorious, bold, over-the-top comedy chaos. This was the era of Viva films. Boldy comedies. Movies where the jokes were as skimpy as the outfits. We're talking about Andrew E. in Alabang Girls, Buba with Rufa May Quinto, and that whole genre where the plot came second to cleavage. Here's the kicker. People watched a lot. These movies were funny, These movies were funny, unapologetically, These movies were funny, unapologetically lowbrow, I can't pronounce that word, I'm so sorry, and deeply rooted in Pinoy culture. Sex was not taboo anymore. It was a punchline material, sometimes empowering, often problematic, always marketable. Then in comes Ay de las Alas, the star cinema queen of Pinoy nanay humor. Films like Ang Tanging Ina in 2003 hit a different nerve. It was loud and chaotic, but it was filled with a heart. Suddenly, Filipino moms became comedy icons, and you couldn't have a Christmas reunion without someone quoting, "Anak, may leukemia ka," just for the laughs. Meanwhile, fantasy comedies dominated the Metro Manila Film Festival. Enter Enteng Kabisote and the Vic Soto Extended Universe, a world where magical creatures, slapstick gags, and product placements live in harmony, just like the Avatar and the Four Nations. And we can't forget the rise of sitcom to movie crossovers. Shows like Okay Cafe Rico and Home Along the Realist weren't just TV hits, they became movie franchises. Suddenly, your favorite small screen characters were saving the world or winning beauty pageants. I don't know what between those two things, with absolutely no explanation needed. Comedy was now mainstream, commercialized, and highly bankable. And while critiques might have groaned, the audience laughed and laughed and laughed harder. By the 2010s, the comedy game shifted, and I mean shifted really hard. Suddenly, comedy had to be relatable. Hugot culture came in swinging like a heartbroken ex with a ukulele. Did I pronounce that right? Enter that thing called Tadhana in 2014. Not a comedy in the traditional sense, but one that inspired a wave of hugot-driven humor. Jokes became more introspective, personal, and Instagrammable. How can I not pronounce these words are hard. On the mainstream side, Vice Ganda reigned supreme. The sharp wit, roast-style banter, and stage presence that could kill silence itself, Vice turned insult comedy into an art form, wherein its showtime, MMFF entries like the Super Parental Guardians or viral award show speeches. The formula, sass plus speed plus savage is equal to, I don't know, sold out tickets in the MMFF awards. Meanwhile, online comedy exploded. From YouTube sketch groups like Loco and Kong TV to short-form humor on TikTok and then Facebook, Pinoy comedy got younger, faster, and way more meta. We laughed at parodies, dub clips, and relatable OFW memes with captions like, "Pagod na akong magmahal, gusto ko na lang mag-abroad." At the same time, comedians like Red Oliero, Victor Anastasio, and GB Labrador brought stand-up comedy to Netflix and streaming, blending observational humor with commentary on politics, religion, and sometimes MRT frustrations. Also, worth noting, queer comedy took center stage, whether through indie films like Jowable or mainstream icons like Vice. LGBTQ plus narratives became a driving force into comedy, offering not just representation but punchlines that pushed boundaries and made audiences rethink while laughing. And through all of this, a new rule emerged. Comedy is not just about making people laugh anymore. It's about making them feel seen. It's woke, it's weird, it's witty, and yes, sometimes it might be cringe, but you know, it's ours. We'll still love it. Now, before we wrap up this ride through on Pinoy comedy history, quick plug. If you like videos like this and want to support the channel, you can do that through Patreon or buy me a coffee. Every amount goes a long way, whether it's helping me watch another weird old movie, pay for editing coffee because editing can sometimes be hard, or survive the emotional damage of rewatching Enteng Kabisote number 10, you'll be helping me big time. But then again, this is not by force. You watching watching this video, subscribing to the channel is a big thing already. And with that, I'm really, really, really thankful. But if you want to go the extra mile and help out a friend on our agenda, you can do so by checking out my Patreon and my Buy Me a Coffee channel. If you are interested, links are in the description below. You can check those things out. And thank you very much. So, what did we learn from almost a century of Pinoy comedy? From the vaudeville antics of Dolphy to the punchy patama of Vice Ganda, Filipino humor has evolved. But one thing stayed the same. We used laughter to survive. Whether it's poverty, heartbreak, politics, or just the traffic on EDSA, comedy has always been our escape and our rebellion. It's how we process pain, how we mock authority, how we flirt, and sometimes how we cry without looking too dramatic. But more than anything, Pinoy comedy reflects us, our contradictions, our wit, our tendency to make fun of even the darkest things, because let's face it, if we don't laugh, we might just lose our minds. Today, our comedy is louder, more digital, more meta, but it still has a heart. Whether it's in a meme, a movie, or a stand-up comedy, we're still chasing that same feeling, the joy of shared laughter in a world that's often too much. So here's to our comedians, our clowns, our tito jokes, and even our TikTok stars. Kahit anong mangyari, may punchline pa rin dapat sa dulo.